Have you ever felt like your life is stuck in the same place, no matter how hard you pray, no matter how much you try? You wait, but nothing seems to move. You hope, but the doors stay closed. It feels like you are trapped in a season that will never end. Maybe you are waiting for healing. Maybe you are waiting for breakthrough in your family, your career, or your faith. And in the silence, you wonder, did God forget me? Will things ever change? Friend, here is the truth. God has not forgotten you. He is not ignoring you. He is preparing you. And when His timing comes, everything can shift in a single moment. The same God who raised Joseph from a prison to a palace, who parted the Red Sea overnight, who opened prison doors for Paul and Silas, He is the same God who can shift everything in your life. This story will remind you that even when nothing seems to happen, God is at work. And when the shift comes, it will be in His perfect time. Chapter 1. Living in the Waiting. Waiting is one of the hardest parts of faith. We want answers now. We want change now. But God often works in seasons of waiting. Joseph knew this well. As a young man, he had dreams of greatness, visions from God that one day he would rise to a position of influence. But instead of honor, he faced betrayal. His brothers sold him into slavery. He served faithfully in Potiphar's house, only to be falsely accused and thrown into prison. Year after year, Joseph waited. It seemed like nothing was moving forward, but the waiting was not wasted. In that prison, God was shaping Joseph's character, teaching him humility, patience, and leadership. And at the appointed time, in a single day, everything shifted. Pharaoh called Joseph out of prison, and he became second in command over all Egypt. What took years of waiting was changed in a moment by God's hand. Maybe you feel like Joseph today, forgotten, stuck, waiting for something to change. Remember this: the waiting is not the end. God uses the waiting to prepare you for what He has prepared for you. And when the time comes, the shift will happen quickly because God never wastes the wait. Chapter 2. When nothing seems to move. There are seasons in life when it feels like you're walking in circles. You pray and nothing happens. You take one step forward and somehow end up 2 steps back. Israel knew this feeling in the wilderness. God had rescued them from Egypt with mighty signs, yet instead of marching straight into the promised land, they wandered for 40 years. Day after day, the same desert, the same manna, the same waiting. From the outside, it looked like nothing was moving. But God was working in the unseen. He was teaching them to depend on Him for daily bread, to trust Him for water from the rock, to follow His presence in the cloud by day and the fire by night. What looked like delay was actually formation. He was preparing their hearts for the land He promised. And maybe that's your season now. You pray, but heaven seems silent. You try, but doors stay shut. It looks like nothing is moving. But beneath the surface, God is building faith in you. He is teaching you to rely on Him, not on circumstances. Sometimes God holds the answer back, not because He doesn't care, but because He wants to shape your heart first. Waiting seasons are never wasted seasons. They are classrooms of faith where God trains you for the shift to come. Chapter 3. Suddenly, God moves. The waiting can feel endless, but when God decides the time is right, everything can change in a moment. Think of Paul and Silas in Acts 16. They were beaten, chained, and locked in the deepest part of the prison. From every angle, it looked hopeless. Yet at midnight, instead of despairing, they prayed and sang hymns to God. And suddenly, the ground shook, the prison doors flew open, and every chain fell loose. What had been impossible a moment before was transformed by God's power in an instant. That is how divine shifts happen. For Joseph, years of prison ended in one call from Pharaoh. For the Israelites, generations of slavery ended in one night as they walked through the Red Sea. For Paul and Silas, chains that seemed permanent broke in a second. God's shifts are sudden, unexpected, and unstoppable. You may be at your own midnight right now. You've waited, you've prayed, and nothing seems to change. But midnight is when God loves to move. The darker the night, the brighter his power shines. When God moves, it won't take long. What looks like it will never change can shift in a single moment, because the God of sudden breakthroughs is still at work today. Chapter 4. God's timing, not yours. One of the hardest lessons in faith is this: God's clock does not run on our schedule. We want answers quickly, but God knows when the answer will bring the greatest good. In John 11, Mary and Martha sent word to Jesus, "Lord, the one you love is sick." They expected him to come immediately to heal their brother Lazarus, but Jesus delayed 2 days. By the time he arrived, Lazarus had been in the tomb 4 days. To the sisters, it looked too late. Their prayers had failed. But Jesus had not forgotten them. He waited because he was about to do something greater than healing. He was about to raise the dead. He said, "Did I not tell you that if you believe, you will see the glory of God?" God's delays are not denials. They are setups for greater displays of his glory. Maybe right now, you feel like Mary and Martha. You prayed, but it looks like the situation has died. You begged God to move, but he seems late. Friend, trust his timing. If he is delayed, it is because he is preparing something greater than you expected. What feels like the end may be the stage for his greatest miracle. Chapter 5. Preparing for the shift. Before God shifts your circumstances, he prepares your heart. Esther is a powerful example. She was an orphan girl, unlikely and unseen, yet God positioned her in the palace. For a whole year, she went through preparation, purification, training, and waiting before she was presented to the king. Later, when her people faced destruction, it was Esther who was ready to step forward and save them. "For such a time as this," Mordecai told her, "you have come to your royal position." God had been preparing her long before the crisis came. The same is true for you. While you are waiting, God is preparing. Every hidden season, every quiet discipline, every act of obedience is shaping you for the shift ahead. Preparation may feel frustrating. You want to see doors open now. But when the shift comes, you will realize that the preparation was necessary. Joseph's years in prison taught him how to manage a nation. David's time as a shepherd prepared him to be a king. Esther's waiting readied her to save her people. And your season of preparation is doing the same. Trust the process. God is building in you the strength to carry what he is about to release in your life. Chapter 6. Walking into the new season. When God shifts everything, he doesn't just change circumstances, he invites you to step into a new season. But stepping into the new always requires faith. When Joshua led Israel to the Promised Land, the Jordan River stood in their way. It was flood season, the waters were high, and the people were afraid. But God gave a command. The priests were to carry the Ark of the Covenant and step into the water. Only when their feet touched the river did the water stop flowing, and the people crossed on dry ground. Joshua 3. The miracle came after the step of faith. In the same way, when God begins to shift your life, you must be willing to walk forward. The shift is not meant to keep you where you are. It is meant to move you into his promises. That means letting go of fear, leaving behind old habits, and trusting him to guide your steps. Don't shrink back when the moment comes. The new season may feel uncertain, but God's presence goes before you, just as the ark went before Israel. Step out. Even if the waters look deep, because God has already prepared the way. Trust the shift. Maybe you feel stuck right now. Maybe you've prayed for years and nothing seems to change. But remember, God is always working. Waiting is not wasted. Silence is not absence. Delay is not denial. At the right time, He will shift everything in your life. Just as He raised Joseph from prison to palace, opened the Red Sea, shook the prison for Paul and Silas, and brought Lazarus out of the grave, He can bring breakthrough for you. But the key is this: trust His timing. Don't give up in the waiting. Don't lose hope in the silence. Stay faithful, because the shift is coming. And when it comes, it will be bigger, faster, and more powerful than anything you imagined. Friend, God is about to shift everything in your life. Step into it with faith. Trust His hand. Trust His heart. Trust His timing. For the one who holds time itself has already prepared your new season, and it is on the way.